I'm Antonio Bossio from University of Naples Federico II. It's very strange to do a deferred presentation, so I will try to be more clear as possible to present evaluation of degradation of about 20 years old precast concrete, a case study. In Italy, Europe and worldwide, recently, a lot of reinforced concrete structures fall down due to corrosion of steel, even if the diagnostic of such structures is quite studied and consolidated in professional practice. Therefore, the research group wondered if is the actual best available practice of on-site structural control enough reliable for a good estimate of corrosion risk? Three different types of precast elements were considered: a squared section column of ordinary reinforced concrete, a prestressed omega beam named beam 1, a prestressed T-beam named beam 2. Generously made available by the silicate of Caiazzo. The activities carried out consisted of visual inspection of the element and degree of deterioration of concrete and steel surfaces exposed to a X0 environmental exposure class, carbonation test, axial load on concrete core samples, and corrosion rate mapping by half-cell potential method versus copper sulfate. As a result of the visual inspection, beams and columns appeared in a good state of conservation, aside from obvious visible brownish signs of oxidation over all unprotected steel surfaces directly exposed to environment. Few cracks of concrete cover were visible in circumscribed regions. Carbonation depth was in the range 10-20 mm lower than concrete cover thickness. According to axial load test, column and beam 1 present values comparable to the design strength, while beam 2 presents a value lower, 20% lower than the design 1. Corrosion mapping shows values in the range minus 200 to minus 300 mV versus copper sulfate, so corrosion process is not started yet, or its rate is very low. Outcomes gained from visual inspection appear to be coherent with what expected. Only the steel surface directly exposed to the atmosphere showed generalized corrosion. Concrete surface resulting from core sampling showed well-sorted grain size distribution and adequate concrete compaction, confirming the frequent good quality of prefabricated concretes. Maximum carbonation depth was 20 mm, less than concrete cover thickness, so corrosion process is not started yet, as shown from potential mapping 2. Concrete strength obtained by axial load test on concrete core was sometimes lower than the design value. However, a scientific conclusion on this issue must be considered provisional, since the authors believe that a more careful account of the testing standard is needed, as well as a wider consideration of statistical and technical variables. Half-cell measurements led to estimating the absence of corrosion process, even if it may be started in few years. Altogether, the results that emerged from the present case study confirm that in case of not exceeding aggressive environment, Adequate design and prefabrication of concrete cover and mixture can lead to structures able to attend their design service life. The results and conclusion reported above must be validated through destructive full-scale tests performed on the same beams and columns analyzed in this paper. This can be performed since the prefabrication company already expressed its availability to allow these tests. According to authors, a revision of type and numerosity of on-site tests could be discussed in order to not underestimate the risk of corrosion and the probability of failure. We have these acknowledgements to the Sviluppo Silicate is grateful acknowledge for making available the precast structural elements. Investigation and testing support was achieved by Tecnolab SRL. Obrigado.